What in the world? Is that blood? Hey! Hey, Dennis, can I get your help in here for a second?
What happened? Oh, wow.
I don't know, man. I came in here to wash my hands, and it looks like someone might have cut themselves, or shoot, maybe someone just spilled something. I'm not sure, but I wanted to get your opinion and see what we need to do with it.
Well, if it is not blood, we still need to treat it as blood.
Okay, so should I just wipe it up then, or?
No, don't wipe it up, because it could possibly be a bloodborne pathogen.
What's a bloodborne pathogen?
Well, a bloodborne pathogen is a microorganism that can cause disease from an infected individual to another individual, either through blood or other infectious materials.
What kind of diseases are you talking about?
Oh, we're talking about hepatitis C, hepatitis B, and HIV.
Wow, this is a big deal then. So how does it go from being on the counter to causing me a disease, though?
Well, you can have as simple as a cut or abrasion, or you can ingest it by accident, and then there you go.
Okay, so you mentioned it could be in other stuff. I think you said other potentially infectious material.
Yes.
What kind of stuff are you talking about?
Well, we're talking about bodily fluids such as sweat, vomit, through saliva.
Wait a second. So you're saying any of those things could have a bloodborne pathogen in it?
Yes, possibly.
Okay, so if I'm coming to do my normal routine, though, and I'm going to clean the bathroom, does that mean I have to treat all of those things like blood?
Negative. You don't always have to treat it all like blood, only if you see blood within them.
Okay, so it could be in those things, but only if they have blood in them.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So what do we need to do to clean this up then?
Well, let me go grab my bloodborne pathogen kit, and then I'll show you how do we do it. Man, I got everything.
All right, what do we need to do to get this thing cleaned up?
Well, the first thing we do is quarantine this area to block anything from anybody coming in here to the contaminated area.
All right.
The second thing we need to do is contact our manager so we know and let them know that we encountered a blood spill.
Gotcha.
And then the last thing we do is we need to clean this thing up and with this bloodborne pathogen kit.
Okay, what's that symbol you were pointing to?
Well, this is a biohazard symbol. So what that does is to let people know that after we're done cleaning this, that we need to put this in a hazardous materials waste bag, and so that all contaminants are concealed, and people know that this is a dangerous substance in this bag.
Gotcha. All right, Dennis, what are we doing on the floor?
Well, first off, we want to make sure we're a good distance away. Therefore, we don't get any contaminant on the PPE. What's in this box, because right now it's sterile.
Okay. All right. So let's get in there and show me how to use this thing.
Yeah. So let me break open this kit and show you these supplies that are in here.
Now I heard you say break it open. So what happens if this kit's already been opened?
Well, if it's already been opened, then we need to take precautions and get another kit. Because
Okay.
what happens is then this could potentially be contaminated already.
Okay. So we need to be using a new kit.
Sterile.
Okay.
Got to make sure it's sterile. Correct.
Gotcha.
So here we have a mask.
Okay.
We have a little shovel or dustpan, as I would call it. It's for if we ever have vomit spills as such, which has potential blood in it or blood in it. So pretty much what you would do is use this as a scooper to scoop it up once it's dried up using Vomit X.
Okay.
Okay. This being the stuff you would pour on the vomit, letting it have a dwell time of 2 minutes for it to dry up the vomit. Our booties. So this goes on the bottom of your shoes, around your shoes. You can actually put them over top of your shoes.
I can see that would be really important if the spill were on the floor.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then we have a pair of gloves. And look at this. We got a biohazard bag. So that same symbol you've seen on the outside of the box, it's right here on this bag as well.
Okay. So everything when we get done
goes in here.
All right.
Correct.
Good deal.
And we have our safety goggles. And this is absorbent if you were to place over yourself, and it goes around you like a smock.
Okay.
Therefore, any splatter or anything like that were to get on you, gets on here. Got little towelettes, sanitizing wipes. And also, we have germicidal disposable wipes as well. And we have our little twisty ties that we tie around the bag to make sure there's no leakage coming from here.
Okay.
So once you're done, everything's in the bag. You tie around the bag, and therefore tie it tight enough so if it were somebody were to hold upside down, there's no leakage coming out of the bag.
All right.
Okay. This being what you place over the spill itself, getting it up, because what we need to do is we have our disinfectant, blot this up, make sure it's dry, then you take our disinfectant and we saturate the surface area.
All right. Well, I guess let's suit up and get this thing cleaned up. All right, you're all suited up. So what's next?
All right, first thing I want to do is I want to examine the area, make sure I got everything within the contents of what I'm going to clean. And the first thing you're going to do to give me is that absorbent paper towel, okay? Then what we're going to do is take the absorbent paper towel and we're going to wipe all this loose liquid up, which is the bodily fluids and blood. You got to be very careful when you're wiping. You don't want to make any splatters because it could splatter on the ground and we just expand our surface area of cleaning. Okay, and then you put the contents in the red biohazard bag. And next you're going to hand me the germicidal wipes. So here, you need to let sit for 2 minutes, saturate the area or until air dry, okay? Still, be very careful when cleaning this and make sure we get it all. This will disinfect any hepatitis B or potential common illnesses. You want to get it really good. You can never be too cautious or too safe when doing this. Then you put the contents in the red biohazard bag.
All right, now we're going to let it sit for 2 minutes or until it air dries.
Correct.
All right, so it's been 2 minutes. Now what?
Now you're going to hand me those moist towelettes right there. And I'm going to finish completing sanitizing the surface. Now, mind you, you always want to kind of be thinking while you're doing this and be cautious. You can never be too cautious and move too slow. Because what happens is you see, I still have my arms exposed, and I can accidentally touch it, and I have an abrasion or something in my arm, or a cut. So now, I'm just going to wipe the surface as before. And we're going to place this content in the red biohazard bag as well.
All right, now what?
Now, we're going to take the red biohazard bag and we're going to place it on the ground. And I'm going to start to declothe. I'm going to start from head to toe. Always remember head to toe, gloves being last. The reason why gloves being last is because you always want to touch all the other parts of the PPE and make sure you take those off. And then the gloves will be lastly disclosed into the red biohazard bag.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm going to start with my goggles first. And then I'm going to start my face mask.
Now I notice it's important not to touch your face, right?
Not to touch your face at all. Then my smock. And then my booties. Then I want to tie the contents of this bag up with the red zip ties. Thank you. And we want to make sure this is tightly sealed. The reason being, we don't want any leaks or blood coming out of the bag. So we want to make sure that we really get this really tight. And then, very imperative and important, when you're doing this last step, is how you take these gloves off. Okay? So you're going to take the first glove, inside out, and you're going to place that in the glove, the hand with the glove on. And then you take inside out, over top of the glove that was in the hand on, and you dispose of it into the red bag. And then you take the contents here, place it in the red biohazard bag, and in the last zip tie, being as such.
All right, very good. So now what are we going to do with that bag?
Now it depends on your site. So job-specific site, however they want to dispose of the bags, that's how you dispose of it. You contact your manager if you have any questions.
So every account should have a way to get rid of a biohazard bag.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, last question for you. I noticed in this kit that there was this little pink form. Can you tell me what this is?
Yes, so the employee or the person cleaning the spill needs to record it. This is very vital, OSHA regulations. So what you're going to do is you're going to date, time, expose your employee, your name, the location, what site you're at, whether that's being at Baptist Health or wherever. Sources exposure, whether that's blood or what was exposed, whatever that might be. And then the type of spill, whether it was blood, vomit, urine, feces, or other. Then the cause of the incident. And explain that. And then once you're done, it's asked if you instructed and did the way it was supposed to be by procedure. You check yes. And then from there, you fill that out, give that to your manager.
Awesome. All right. Well, very good. Let's go debrief back at your office, if that's all right.
That sounds great. All right, man. Hey, anytime the last step when you're cleaning up a blood spill, blood-borne pathogen spill, you got to wash your hands for 30 seconds. So I'll meet you at my office. All right?
All right. Sounds good.
Sounds great. So, in this video, as you may have been aware, Halston was not wearing the proper PPE, but if it was real blood, which it wasn't, it was ketchup, and somebody is accommodating you when you're cleaning a blood-borne pathogen spill, make sure they're wearing the proper PPE. Also, all blood-borne pathogen kits are not the same. So, you might have a different one at your site. If you do, make sure you follow the procedures with what is in that box. And also, going forward, just want to make sure if you don't have a blood-borne pathogen kit, make sure you contact your manager so we can get you one there immediately.
Tell you what, man, it sounds like there's a lot to this bloodborne pathogen thing.
Almost definitely.
So if I'm one of your employees and I want to find out some more information about this stuff, where can I go to find that?
Well, there's two places you can go. So it's OSHA 1910 Book of Standards. And then the second place is Bud Group's Exposure Control Plan.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, so if any employee has more questions, they can contact their manager and they can either take them to the Book of Standards,
correct,
which outlines what companies need to have to be in compliance, or they could take them to the exposure control plan that the Bud Group has, which is Bud Group specific, and it just talks about how the Bud Group communicates around a potential exposure.
Exactly.
So let's say one of your employees does get exposed. What happens? What should they do?
They need to contact their manager immediately first, and then from there they'll contact MedCorps and go from there and go through the process of what the standard procedures would be.
Okay, so they're following the normal accident procedure. Okay. Anything else you would recommend if they have been exposed?
Yes. So immediately after contacting your manager, you would go flood that area for 30 seconds with warm water and soap, and just make sure you vigorously, not tearing at your skin, but vigorously with a little bit of pressure on that area, cleaning that surface.
Gotcha. So we followed the accident procedure. Likely they're going to tell us we need to go to the hospital, and at the hospital, a medical professional is going to walk us through getting tested and seeing if we have been exposed to something, and then kind of walk us through that process.
Yes.
It sounds like you know a lot about these diseases and bloodborne pathogens. Could you tell me a little bit more about hepatitis B?
Yeah, so hepatitis B is very nasty. For one, it will inflame your liver, so it attacks your liver, creating scar tissue over and over again, cirrhosis of the liver, which causes liver failure. The other one could be genetically passed from you to your child, your infant. And that is 90% of the case your child will contract if you have hepatitis B.
Okay, so I have heard that is what we're most likely to be exposed to, because so many people don't even know that they have hepatitis B. So is there anything that we can do to prevent ourselves from being exposed?
Yes, so there's hepatitis B vaccination. So that's a series of shots over 3 stages that last about 3 to 6 months.
Okay, so it takes 3 to 6 months to get the shots, and then the actual vaccination is good for at least 10 years.
Correct.
Okay, so what if I'm an employee and I want to get the hepatitis B vaccination? What do I need to do?
Well, y'all in luck here, because at Bud Group we offer it for free for our employees. So when you're initially being hired, they give you this form to fill out whether you want to decline or accept the offer that we do give to our employees for a hepatitis B vaccination.
That's right. And even if you've decided up front that you don't want it, or maybe you had it and you don't need it, but later down the road you think, I do want to go get it, it's still okay. Just contact your manager and they'll walk you through the process of getting that vaccination started.
Almost definitely.
Awesome. Well, man, I really appreciate your time today. It's been super helpful and informative for me. I hope maybe you learned a little something along the way too.
Yes, I did.
And I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Yes. Thank you, man.
All right. Thanks for taking the time to show me and the employees how to clean up a blood spill. As you know, there's a whole nother step to it, though, that our managers need to be aware of, which is the documentation around bloodborne pathogens. So I just want to take a minute to walk through some of this with you and make sure we know what we need to have in order to be in compliance. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you about is the exposure control plan. This is a plan that the Bud Group has, and all it does is walk through how the Bud Group handles bloodborne pathogens or potential exposures. So some of the things that are in here are definitions, some medical definitions, a purpose or responsibility statement, which just says the Bud Group is trying to keep its employees safe and keep them from being exposed. There's a section in here that talks about what jobs might be exposed versus others that might not be exposed, or what being exposed even means or looks like. And then there's a section in here that talks about our hepatitis B vaccination program. There's also a section in here that talks about what to do if you have been exposed to something, and how we're going to seek medical attention. And then finally, this outlines our training program. So it says how we're going to train our employees and when we're going to train our employees. So that's this. Any questions about that?
No.
Okay. It's good for everybody to have this on site, but if for some reason you can't locate it on site, this is available on the intranet if you just use in the search bar exposure control plan.
Okay.
The next thing that's important for all of our managers to know is that their employees have a right to have access to this book, which is the OSHA General Industry Regulations, 1910. So in here, somewhere in the back here, it outlines exactly what every organization that has a potential to be exposed needs to do to keep its employees safe. So that section is right here. It's 1910-1030. And so every manager needs to know that they can access this online and they can use it for a reference, or if their employees have more questions, they could go here to find it.
Oh, that sounds great.
So the last thing I want to talk about here is our hepatitis B vaccine declination form. We talked a little bit in the training about what hepatitis B is and how dangerous it can be. and we mention to our employees that we offer the vaccination to everyone. So it's important as a manager that we make sure our employees know that they have been offered this vaccination, and we document whether or not they want to receive it. So if they want to receive it, we're going to get them the proper information to go and start the shot process. Or if they do not want it, we're going to make sure that they sign this hepatitis B vaccine declination form, and that we keep that on their employee file. All this document does is says, I don't want the shot.
Okay.
I know what hepatitis B is, and I've already gotten the vaccine, or I do not want it, one of the two.
Wow.
So it's just important to make sure we have this for every employee. So I think the only thing I've missed here is that at the Bug Group, we train our employees annually on this. So we're going to make sure that they get trained on how to react and respond to bloodborne pathogens every single year. And it's very important that we document that training. That way, if we need to look back 2 years ago and see, was Joe Schmo trained on bloodborne pathogens, we'll be able to look back and see that in our training records.